Yes, welcome to the Man United agenda, and it is another win for Manchester United. It's a win for us guys here as well because we're happy to do a show in good spirits. So, Man United beat Leicester 1-0. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Man United agenda. My name is Omundi Juma Forbes. I am back, and I'm excited. The atmosphere is really nice in the house here. I'm joined by Rebel. Rebel's been doing some fantastic shows this morning. He covered the transfer news, but that's not important right now, is it, Rebel? We're going to talk about the game. How are you feeling?
Yeah, great to get 3 points. Obviously, a clean sheet on the board. Definitely room for improvement as we'll get into as over the course of the show. And there was one bit of transfer news, and I think because it's kind of insignificant to what we're going to talk about on the show, I think we might hit it all the way first, and that is Memphis Depay. He has decided to stay at Barcelona, so the one deal that we thought might get across the line for Manchester United, there's nothing to watch, basically. So Manchester United's transfer window is over. However, I do want to know what viewers think of the reported clause that is believed to be in Dubravnik's contract, and that is that he has a recall clause that can be activated in January. But that's the transfer news. That's it. All over, all covered.
Thank you very much. And I'm coming below me all the way back to SHAH. How are you doing, SHAH, man? Welcome back. Everyone knows, SHAH, you go to home games. You're the home game fiend. You love the atmosphere. You're always there chipping in and giving the team support. So it was away day today, and we won. How are you feeling, man?
Mate, I'm actually buzzing that we've been 3 in a row of wins. It's been a long time since we've been able to say that, whether you be on the channel, whether you be on your WhatsApp, whether you be on wherever, to say that we've got 3 wins back to back and away wins is something that's brilliant as well, because they're 2 games that we've had away in a row that were tough, but we've got that result and we've got those points on the board, and that puts us in 5th spot, which is fantastic.
So away days, SHAH. You're usually driving back from Old Trafford on home games, but now you can sit on your sofa and share the ride with us, enjoy the ride with us. So over to you, Pat Lawrence. I'm looking over here on my sofa, but you're not here. You're actually at home because you spent the weekend in London with me doing a watch along. Another victory at Southampton, and we won again at Leicester. How are you feeling, bro?
Oh, man, let that consistency train just continue. I swear to God. Isn't it great, lads? Isn't it great just to see a football team play football and play as a unit and be happy for each other? You can see they're all happy for each other. And long may it continue. I can't wait to get into this show now because I enjoyed the first 45 minutes and I thought the second half was a professional finish by Manchester United. We didn't have to worry about scoring that second goal. So let's get into it, lads. What a great result.
All right. Before we do, obviously, we're the interactive show. We are the participation show. We love the people that jump in and comment. So we're going to go straight into the comments. The part is here saying post-war Man United DNA. He's just given a few examples here. Okay, you can read that. Man United agenda. This is welcome, everyone. Make sure you like and subscribe. Vincent Bullock is here. How you doing? I hope I didn't butcher your name. Mark Edmonds, all the way from Australia. I don't know what time you got, but you've obviously just watched the game. Maguire starring, best form in a red shirt, found his place, which is on the bench, I imagine you'll say. Vincent saying, what has Harry Maguire and Rebel game come on tonight? They both never showed their face. Okay, the jokes are flying in. Okay, just like Rebel, he doesn't show his face. Mr. B's here as well. He's got a JD and Coke on the go. Vibes are high. He's feeling good. If you didn't, make sure his game's over now, but obviously Man United, Mr. B and TalkMU to do their watch along. We've got Mr. B saying, good evening, guys and girls. Vincent saying, SHAH, where do you sit in the stadium? Want to say hi to the boss man, Solo. He's obviously delighted. Mark Edmonds saying, clean sheets, away wins, best in Liverpool. Eric 10-inch, working his magic. Look at him. Look at this. It's right. I'm not. Before I read this, I'm going to say I hope Paddy's happy. Let's have a look. Paddy saying, hanging on, Shah. We still have to kill off these teams. So he's still a bit dubious. Box is in the house. Andrew Williams is here. Solid defensively. Very good base. Elanga, Bruno, Rashford, awful. Ericsson, Varane, Martinez, awesome. So there's a bit of contrast there. And we've got TalkMU, done a brilliant commentary for the game as well. Matthew Bassett as well. He was on our show earlier, dropping some jewels about the transfer market. And finally, Vincent saying, only asking because I sit on the Bobby Charlton stand, seat 122. So you got to go and check him out. So first of all, I'm going to come to you, Rebel. I've got a question for you, Rebel. I want you to answer this for me because there's going to be a lot of criticism saying, oh, Leicester are bottom of the table. Leicester are no good. What do you think of Leicester? Do you think they're finished? Do you think it's like this is a 1-0 win away from home at Leicester is credible enough based on where they are? No signings. Well, they bought a French defender today. But do you think it's a credible win? Let's talk about Leicester first.
Okay, I think obviously with any game you have to beat what's put in front of you. That's without question. If you do not turn up on the day, any team can turn you over and make you look, as you would say, stupid. But frankly, Leicester, they're undergoing transformation. They had speculation over their midfielders hanging over them going into this game. Vardy looks like Dr. Age is starting to come to roost in his game. And they've obviously lost their inspirational goalkeeper, which was Kasper Schmeichel. So they're definitely a team that aren't quite the same as the FA Cup winning one and the league winning one. Things have changed for them there. Manchester United, I suppose, at times you could see glimpses of the class that is there. And to use a quote from Ten Hag, there was 11 players on the pitch that fight for each other. And that's what we got today. We got a team fighting for each other. Was it the perfect performance? Absolutely not. I think there's always room for improvement, even in loss or victory. And certainly when Ten Hag goes back to the drawing board and reviews the game footage, he's going to be pointing out bits and pieces to various players and asking them to work on aspects of their game. But to say that a win over Leicester is a given, couldn't be further from the truth. You have to work, you have to go out there, and we got the goal that we needed. However, at times you would wonder, based on the play, if we had not put that goal in the back of the net, where else would we have found one? There is definitely stuff to be worked on in the offensive side of the ball, but I'm going to let the lads come in and give their early assessment before we go any further.
Sure, you've heard there from Rebel. He's saying there's room for improvement, and Leicester, could have done a bit more. Do you think 1-0 is a good scoreline? What do you think of Leicester's predicament right now? Do you think it's a credible win? Would you be boastful about it based on them being bottom of the league after 5 games?
I think today Leicester probably played the best in the second half that I've seen them play or seen highlights of them from the beginning of the season in the last few games, right? We gave them opportunities which other teams in set pieces would have been a little bit more clinical, maybe would have given us more problems, right? And I think that obviously pays them to have opportunities maybe to even give us a problem, because at one goal is no cushion nowadays in today's modern world of football. A split decision can change the game quite rapidly. And I think it being comfortable and some of the conversation we were having before, obviously, about killing off games, we could have killed off that game in the first half. Even Ericsson, after his post-match interview, came out and said, like they could have been better. But I think this is just a little bit of a transition that we're going through at the moment, where players are still getting to know each other and play together. So the fact that we're seeing this formula at the moment, I'm positive about that. I'm positive about the result, and I'm positive that we kept a clean sheet. And that back four, the bromance, let me get involved in that bromance along our back four, because that is something that we haven't seen, mate, since really, and I'm going to put it out there, since Evra, Vidic, Rio, and Gary Neville kind of days, like Fabio, for having Fabio on the right. That kind of thought, understanding that, and you see the confidence De Gea has as well. The decision making, the time he's taking, he's actually making clear decisions. So there's a little bit of a fog that's been lifted around that 5. players at the back, and I'm happy about that, and personally, so
maybe they've all got the same network and Wi-Fi. Would you say?
whatever
Anyway, moving on.
whatever it is,
Moving
the
on.
antennas are working, isn't they? It's not
Moving on.
it's not like mine.
Pat, our man Paddy, who was on the sofa with you the other day, he said Leicester was quite poor and quite dismissive. What do you think of Leicester at the moment? We've got to see every single team in the Premiership now, 5 games in. Do you think Leicester is a credible win, or do you think they're just poor and the league doesn't lie?
I find that it's a bit unfair to say Leicester were poor tonight. If Barnes and Vardy had got half the chance, they would have put that ball in the back of the net tonight. I thought Delo was excellent on Barnes, and I thought Varane was excellent on Vardy. Just like what SHAH says, the Martinez fella, I can't help but like him. He got the yellow card in the second half, and he turned around to the referee and gave him this blunt stare and looked at him like he was Cantona sticking out his chest. What? Giving me a yellow card? For what? When clearly he would have to have taken your man out by putting his hand on his shoulder and pulling him to the ground. So, same with Malacia. The lads at the back four were excellent. But as good as the back four is, we have to give Scott McTominay credit. And if I was Casimiro, he's doing his utmost to keep him out of that team. The interception, it was Scott McTominay made an interception just before we scored their goal. It actually led to the ball going up the pitch just before we scored our goal. And he was excellent, Scott McTominay. He was everywhere again. And just like the mid-block that I keep getting educated on by Bartime and Omundi, I can't get over how well Ericsson and McTominay just run with each other. When the ball's on the left-hand side of the pitch, the two of them gravitate together. When the ball's on the right, the two of them gravitate together. They are absolutely excellent. Absolutely excellent. And I'm so impressed with the midfield today, as well as the back four.
But the question, guys, you've all avoided, is it a credible win? I mean, we're talking about Leicester City, a team that's won the league in the last 7 years, a team that's been to FA Cup finals, a team that's been playing in Europe, going deep into Europa League, a team that's been a threat. And they've got similar players to what they've had before. I think it's a good win. I'm not buying that they're the league. They've scored in every single game that they've played so far, but apart from today, which suggests that we've managed that game, saw it out, and really happy with that.
No,
anyway,
I thought we were doing very well. I thought Delo and Varane kept Barnes and Vardy quiet, who were the two main danger men. And the only one who really got a chance was Maddison from the likes of free kicks and set pieces.
I will add that it is actually the only away win in this set of fixtures that were played since Tuesday.
Wow. It's funny that when you're looking at games, midweek games with the Premiership, and they've got you do get a lot of draws. It's very difficult. A lot of changes, squad rotation, but I felt we were quite comfortable today. I want to go through some comments, if you don't mind, lads. Start thinking about what we're going to talk about next is the starting lineup, which wasn't changed, and the implications of that. So, Boxer saying Ronaldo cameo was a big positive. Bartime saying the mid-block was huge tonight. It's directing at you, Pat. Quite poor from Leicester, says Paddy. Mark Edmonds says one word, control. And I totally agree with you. Andrew Williams saying, agreed, Vardy is not what he was. Maybe get sharper with games. Bartime saying, SHAH looks like he's about to announce a new iPhone. I want to say hi to Exhibit. James Garner, he's talking about that's one of the deals that's been going on. A lot of people are disappointed about him leaving, but he looks like going to Everton now. Bath Time saying, yeah, we can't play out without long balls to Elanga. So that's a good outlet for us with Elanga in the first half, especially. TalkMU, who done the commentary, saying we should and could have put Leicester to the sword in the first half, but I will take the points and use the performance as a learning curve. That's nice, a controlled response there. Stuart Marshall, how you doing? Stuart also goes to a lot of games. I don't know if you're there today, but he's saying we're going to win the league. Excitement. Boxer saying Vaughan and Elanga get bullied in duels. Talking to Vaughan, sorry, he said Elanga gets bullied in duels. I'm not so sure about that, but interesting, we can discuss. Emma Kay saying there were some moments where I thought we played very well, but ending needed to be polished, finishing it. our dinner. Eddie in the house. How you doing, Eddie? Saying, hey guys, similar to Southampton win, yeah, another 1-0. I understand the need to get a couple of safe wins. It will be good to see eventually more minutes of progressive football. Bath time, every time he comes off, we struggle to get up the pitch. Just talking about Elanga, because we can't do anything but spam channel balls from the back. And Stuart is saying Dallow's class tonight. I totally agree. We're going to come on to him. Dallow was great tonight since Bath time. Emma's saying Elanga needs to be polished in a few areas. Vardy's yesterday's man, says Paddy. Stuart Marshall saying we need to start killing off teams. All right, we'll just leave it there with Stuart Marshall's comment there. Rebel, do you think there's an issue here? We've had 2 1-0 wins. Do you think we're creating enough chances, or do you think we're just taking baby steps to sort of really peak with our performance?
I think what you have to take into account is when all the new transfers are in, that'll be 6 new players that are part of the squad. Now, obviously, one of those is a second choice keeper. Whether or not he troubles De Gea, we'll leave until further down the road. But the midfield is slowly seeing new operatives being brought into there. That back 4 never operated together until 3 games ago. So that's obviously been the highlight of the rebuild. They've settled together quite well, and you can obviously see every time that they function together, they're backslapping, they're doing all the things to kind of motivate each other to keep fighting and keep scrapping. But obviously, once Casimiro starts getting bedded in, there's going to be a bit of change and getting used to in the midfield. And Anthony, of course, who was announced today, is obviously yet to come in. And the flair and the drive and the running that he's going to add to that attacking sense, that's going to be an adaptation. But in terms of our finishing, I think Ten Hag will be bringing the lads in. He'll be looking at chance creation. There was times I felt that Bruno's balls into players didn't quite give him the best opportunity to get a shot off. We saw it other times then Rashford maybe hit a few dark alleys, but bottom line was I felt that there's definitely plenty to be worked on the upper side of the field. And as we review the season, I'm hoping that sharpness will come on. The one thing I am encouraged with, and we'll get to him as well later on, is the time that Ryan spent on the field. He seemed a bit sharper than the last game he came on. I thought the last game he seemed a bit leggy. He seemed a bit off pace. But today, at times, he kind of amalgamated into that unit. And maybe when Anthony's next to him, we mightn't be really focused on, okay, Ronnie making that bursting run. It could be just Ronnie being in the right spot to get the ball from Anthony or Sancho coming in, or whoever happens to be on the other side.
Okay, SHAH, you go to games, and I know you're very vocal at games. I can actually hear you from my TV sometimes. That's SHAH. But the fans, the away fans today, were saying attack, attack, attack when we were controlling the game, and they didn't really create many chances. What are your feelings on that? Do you want to see more progressive football? Are you happy with what you're seeing right now? Are we creating enough chances? Are we solid enough for you? I mean, what is the motivation behind the fans to say attack, attack, attack when we're actually in control of the game and we get the 3 points? What's your feelings on that?
Well, like everyone, we pay to go to football. We watch football for 2 things: goals and a win, right? You know, none of us sit here and say, oh, we're going to watch a draw today. You don't want to go watch a football match for that. As flat players and entertainment goes, goals is what makes you feel alive. You know, you have that electricity through your body, motion, passion, love. And I think this is the thing that when you hear our fans singing attack, it's because there are times over these last few seasons where we haven't seen that progressive play. Now, you give us a little bit of it and then you take it away. There are periods in matches where we should be progressing and the ball goes backwards. And it still happens, right? You know, we've seen it happen a couple of times in this game. There's a point where Bruno's right down near the touchline, 3 players in the box, 5 Leicester players, no one else running in on the edge of the box. Ronaldo, little mistake of a flick where Bruno ran past, thought Scott would be there, wasn't there. So I think the attacking element and sometimes that mindset has to be there because like many of us, that watch some of the older matches or seen some of the older matches, when we are attacking and we're only 1-0 down, 1-0 does not give you a guaranteed win. 2 is a lot more of a comfortable cushion where you can then sit back, control the game, and play how they wanted to play this afternoon, in my opinion, personally. 2 in the Premier League, Champions League, gives a little bit more control. And then your mindset changes. And that's what I think. And I think the fact that we didn't do it against Southampton and we haven't done it against Leicester, where we've been able to go into the halftime and clear, and we've had 3 shots and 4 shots that were in the first half, and it could have been a couple of goals, right? Well, I'm not saying that every single goal and shot is going to be 100% perfect. I'm not disputing that there are going to be errors, right? But I think the attack part of it needs to be that we can go into halftime, go and get our cups of tea, our beers, whatever it is anyone is going to be enjoying, whether it might even be fruit salad, I don't know, whatever it is. But the point is, you're going to go there with the biggest smile on your face. You know what I mean? Hey, whatever people are having nowadays, we live in a different world. So, but look, my point is that you want, as a fan, when you're at the stadium, to be going in at halftime with a big smile on your face, not like, oh, they still got a goal in them, haven't they? I don't want to feel like that. So I'm sure the players don't want to feel like that. And the fact is that they've got wins. It's going to just put more confidence in. You can hear the fans today. They were more vocal than the Leicester fans. And we are obviously still behind the team for those that are there.
All right, Pat. So were you entertained? Because the fans were shouting attack, attack, attack. But you're watching the eye test. Were you entertained overall by what you saw today?
Yes. The answer is yes. I'm very entertained. And I think at the moment we're in a little bit of a slow transition, a slow burning transition of coming back to good form. I think I can see it in Jadon Sancho. He's coming back to form. I can see it in Marcus Rashford. He's coming back to form. Bruno Fernandes coming back to form. All of these fellas came into this new season with zero confidence, and you can see it's all building in them. And we're slow burning and we're coming back. We're going to have this new addition of this Anthony lad coming in. He looks like he wants to go onto that pitch and he wants to be starting straight away. He looks like he has that kind of attitude. So when he comes into that team, he's going to lift the front three the same way we have Martinez and Malacia lifting the back four. So am I happy? Yes, I am. Can I see progression? Yes, I can. I'm so happy with the back four. I'm so happy with the midfield. And I can see the strike force getting better slowly. And with the addition of Anthony, he's going to lift them all. And let's not get it wrong as well, lads. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't go through the preseason either. So he's not exactly hitting the ground running at the start either. So I'm not expecting the Cristiano of last year coming out straight away. I'm going to expect him to take his time coming back as well. So I'm kind of hoping now that Anthony comes in all guns blazing and he sets it alight. And Anthony Martial, I need him to come back as well because he started off with more confidence than Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford. And I felt like he was a catalyst of that front attacking three, even though they were rotating amongst the three of them. But it was very unfair that he's picked up these two injuries. So as soon as we get Martial back and Anthony embeds into that team, Jadon, Bruno, Rashford's confidence keeps on growing. By Christmas, we'll be hammering the goals in, lads, and that's how I feel.
That's a great response, I think. So it's just going to take some time to sort of tweak things where we start beating teams 3, 4, 5-0, burying and finish our dinner, as I've said, favourite saying. All right, let's start with the goalkeeper and defence, guys, because I know, guys, in the comments, please press the like button if you want. But guess what, guys, in the comments? Tonight, we have SHAH and Rebel. They are going in on Rashford. They've obviously taken note, and they're going to be discussing Rashford. And I think Pat is going to be discussing the great Scott McTominay. Let's talk about the defence and the goalkeeper. First of all, I'll just start with this. Going to come on to you, Rebel. I thought the goalkeeper was, as we saw against Southampton, he started kicking balls long from goal kicks and mixed it up a little bit if he didn't feel safe enough. But today, I noticed he played a few short balls out of defence, and he also pinged it into Eriksen a couple of times in the middleman. And the communication was good because Eriksen did have a man closing him down. So what do you think about De Gea's performance and that save he made from the free kick overall?
Okay, so with David De Gea, I think we had a bit of a mixed bag. There was stuff that you said brilliant, and there was stuff that you said, okay, we need to sort this out, because at times the long ball and not played off in the back, it did seem to be going nowhere. I think there was 3 or 4 in first half where you just said, okay, maybe there was a better option, but obviously that's something that can be worked on. For the first time, he looked comfortable claiming a high ball. I don't know if you remember that passage play. He came out, and I think, was it Vardy, that he literally went up, grabbed ball, and took and stood up tall. And that was something, obviously, that when we saw De Gea arrive first day, he did not seem comfortable coming out, claiming that ball. But today, he done it. The save, that was absolutely phenomenal. For all intents and purposes, that could have been 1-1 for Leicester, who didn't really have a whole pile of gilt-edged chances, but that one was absolutely incredibly well struck by Maddison. And I think he would have been disappointed that he didn't get rewarded for such a photogenic free kick. But overall, I think De Gea can be happy with his performance. I don't think he did a whole pile wrong. Again, the free kicks can be, or the goal kicks can be worked on. So for me, De Gea gets a solid 7-8. Defense, I'm just going to rattle them off quickly. I can't fault any one of them. I thought the yellow card for Malacia was absolutely ridiculous. It was never a yellow card in the month of Sundays. Martinez and Varane, their bromance is growing and growing. And Dado, he was just like a little Energizer bunny, nipping at heels and making a nuisance of himself. And again, picked up his yellow card. But what about it? Solid 9s across the board.
Wow, big endorsement.
The puppy got another yellow
card. We're not talking about De Gea, really, but anyone as a unit, the defensive unit, because another clean sheet, there's 2 clean sheets in a row. And in the last 180 minutes, I haven't seen many clear-cut chances against us as a defensive unit. So they would be happy. They're strolling out there. Do you want to add to that, Shah? A quick thing about the unit, the defensive unit?
I like the blocks in the wall. I like Varane anticipating his play. I like Martinez covering Malacia. I loved, obviously, Dalot and Malacia being further up the pitch, like Pat was saying a bit earlier on about Scott dropping back in as well, and just shielding out, and Eriksen shielding. Just there was enough comfortability for the defense in front of their midfield, you know. And what I mean by comfortability, that there's confidence that they can rely on Eriksen and McTominay before it comes to them, before they have to step up and do the job. This, as a defensive unit, gives you time to anticipate where the ball's going to be, but also stay closer, watch visually along the pitch lines, in front of you, behind you, you know where your keeper distance is. There were some spaces between Varane and De Gea where I thought, do you know what? If that was going left, and I'm sorry to say it, but if I saw Harry there instead of Martinez, I would have been nervous. Like, genuinely, because Maddison was coming down on Martinez quickly, dealt with it very well, passed it, got rid of it. And De Gea, on some of those occasions, would normally pass them out. But coming back to those long balls, which we were saying, you know, Rebel, you were saying about, those long balls that De Gea had were sometimes actually the better option, just allowing the team just to reset the shape and get everyone back organised. So I was very happy. 8s for me all across the board. For De Gea and the back 4.
Okay, just want to say hi to Paul, all the way from Malawi. How you doing, Paul? You're getting enough love in the comments, so you're going to get love from the panel as well. Welcome, man. I hope you enjoyed the game, and let's see what you thought about the game. We're currently talking about defence, so over to you, Pat. What do you think about our defensive unit? Like you said earlier, we haven't conceded in the last 2 games. We should have conceded against Liverpool. Are you happy with what you're seeing right there?
Yes, I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed with Malacia. He is so energetic. Him and Martinez are rubbing off on that back 4. The energy is obviously, it's Varane can't get enough of it. Dalot can't get enough of it. The aggression that is bringing out the aggressiveness in the puppy Dalot, or should we call him Dalot da Silva now? We'll have to give him a Brazilian name like we did Shah. He is excellent. I really am so impressed with Dalot. You were explaining to me before the show started about the double pivot and about Dalot and Malacia playing so much higher up the pitch, with Scott McTominay and Eriksen coming back and helping out. And what I did notice about Malacia, and you should probably pick it up in the eye test during the week, is what I noticed about any time Bruno kind of picked up the ball in front in Leicester's half, if whatever way the direction of the ball was going, if he did end up coming back into our half, every time I seen Fernandez coming back, if he was coming back as he was playing the ball, it was like a slingshot movement. You'd see Malacia come around the back of him and go up the left wing. And it was every time Bruno would come back, Malacia would fire forward. And it was so good to watch. I really enjoyed it. So even though we're giving props to the back four, we have to give Scott McTominay props for his defensive duties today. He made 2 interceptions in that, which I nearly jumped up off the sofa and started bravoing myself. Go on, Scott McTominay. There was once or twice Varane stepped in to make a challenge, and there was McTominay standing behind them, ready, not playing as a sweeper, just ready to back him up. And I couldn't have been happier with Scott McTominay today. I think he's just getting better and better. And he's making it harder for Casimiro to get into that side, or whoever wants to partner the likes of Eriksen and Casemiro on that team. He's becoming, his performances are making him undroppable at the moment. And I'm probably going to get slated for it, but his hard work is just paying off in my mind.
So Paul, all the way from Malawi, saying, enjoyed the game. Defense looks good. The coach changing the back four is a game changer. I think he will need to do the same in the attack. Look very blunt. Malacia is still at 12 million, though. So Paul certainly knows his stuff. Boxer saying, you can tell McTominay, as you were just talking about him, Pat, he says he gets told to do an instruction, he carries it out. He knows he needs to improve. He's willing to do what he's told like a pet. That's an interesting one. So I want to say hi to Sports Network. If you don't know, go and check them out because they are part of the Man United agenda. Full-time Sports Network. Type that in or just take a screenshot, guys, because we are brothers and sisters, one big family, and Rebels associated. I'm associated. I do shows on there too. We're all incorporated. We're all one big happy family, like cousin brother, isn't that right, Shah? And we represent, and we want you to represent for them as well, guys. They do all sports, even wrestling, WWE, and athletics, track and field, boxing, American football. Everything's covered. So make sure you big them guys up. And you all know about Colin. Colin is running things right there now. He's a top presenter. Anyway, you start talking about McTominay. I think the defense starts from the forwards, I believe. So as a team, you have to give them all credit. You don't just applaud the defenders. And so I just want to say as well, Rebel, what do you think about, or all of you guys, what do you guys think about in 2 games running now, the 3 yellow cards have come from Dalot, Malacia, and Martinez? What's that highlight? What does that mean to you guys? Anyone?
Well, in fairness with Dalot, it's just because he's been an absolute nuisance, and unfortunately at times he has to make the decision of taking the one for the team. I didn't believe Malacia's one was a yellow card today, so I'm not putting that against him. It was absolute bull crap of a call. McTominay, I'm going to have to say Scott McTominay was absolutely brilliant again today. I think the only thing you have to remember is if you have Casimiro and you Eriksen, you're obviously going to start picking up things. You're going to be working with these guys in training, and you're seeing a different Scott McTominay starting to come through. Maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe it's the unit fighting harder together is the reason why we're starting to see players come out of their shells a bit. But Scott McTominay is doing fine. Eriksen is doing fine. And I have to say, the one in the midfield that actually could suffer is Bruno. Like, there's no reason why we couldn't see Casimiro, McTominay, and Eriksen as those 3 if the way the form book dictates. So it says that has to happen. But very pleased with Scott today. He got about his work, done what he needed to do. Eriksen, there's a lovely quality to the way that he delivers the ball. It's like he drops it on a sixpence. Like, I think he reminds me of Beck's, actually, the way that Beckham used to be able to drop a ball on top of you. And what I imagine once he has Anthony start putting it on, that could absolutely be chaos for defenses to unlock because Anthony's going to relish the type of ball that Eriksen can deliver for him. But I think I leave it with those 2 because obviously Bruno's more part of the attacking side of the football. So, SHAH, I know you want to speak about these 2 men.
I think with both of them, I think both of you got some great points, right? You know, that we can all agree on. With McTominay, we're seeing mature McTominay. the fact that Jose gave him that made a special award for him that season, like mate, like literally that was interesting. But with Ericsson and McTominay, you can see like there's a mature player and a younger player. One's telling the other what to do, but then he's not smothering with too much instruction. He's still letting him have his own mind to play the ball. There were times when Scott could do things a little bit better. There's a ball that came out. He decided to head it away instead of taking it down on his feet, which some of the other players within that 2-second gaps would potentially do and spray the ball out somewhere else. And that's what I want Scott to do, because Scott's got a pass in him. We've seen that in several occasions. And I think that's what Ericsson will hopefully do. But at the moment, it's kind of like, where's Bruno? Where's Ericsson? Let me get the ball to that. I just want to see him be that little bit more progressive. There's a few times when he has done it and he's lost the ball because his decision making wasn't right. So I think there's still a little bit more that we're going to see out of Scott coming. I think when you see Casimiro's decision making and you compare it to Scott's, the timing, getting the ball down, quick pass, let's pass and move. This is what I'm trying to say. That comparison is really just to show what Casimiro is going to bring as well. And I think that's what's going to be exciting. But obviously, overall, everyone's played well. So I'm not knocking anyone, but just improvements where needed.
Just finally, Pat, just want to touch on the defence. Sorry, the midfield. You talk about Ericsson and McTominay in the block. You were going to focus on McTominay. You've already sort of spoken about him briefly. But what do you think about as a unit, what they're doing out there? What are you seeing?
They're excellent. It's like there's a rope tied around both their arms. And if one runs that way, the other one runs with them. And if one runs that way, it runs the other side. Whatever side of the pitch the ball is on, I'm just watching the two of them. And they're alternating amongst each other who steps forward and who comes back. It's not as if McTominay is playing behind Ericsson all the time. They're shoulder to shoulder for 90% of it. But if the ball comes to them, it's like they're alternating between the two of them. Whoever's closest at the time just goes to the ball and one steps back slightly. But all the time, it's beside each other. They're a partnership in there. And that's what's working so well.
Word,
They're excellent. And that's what's working so well with McTominay. And obviously, Ericsson has to be talking to him all the time, as well as Scott is playing well. It's the Ericsson effect.
I love seeing little partnerships throughout the team. Just two centre backs, the centre backs and the full backs, the two midfielders linking up. And you're right. I did see McTominay and Ericsson orchestrating. As one time when McTominay was dictating to Dalot, told him to go out there. He's going to fill into that block, which you said, which was tied with a piece of string with Ericsson too. So the midfield, really good performance again. We're going to come to the forwards. We're including Bruno now. I'm going to start with you, Rebel. Just cover briefly what you saw today and how the forwards performed and when did they engage? What do you think about this pressing? Because we're supposed to be living this era of pressing and closing people down, but they didn't seem to get caught out so much. It seemed like they've been really working hard. So what do you think about the forward line as a unit?
I thought at times Leicester found it difficult to live with the pace that they were running at him. There was a couple of examples with Anthony Elanga where his pace, he was absolutely outstripping him going forward, and they found it very tough to deal with him. He got 45 minutes in, he done his job, and I don't think we can be too disappointed with him. He's a young fella that's learning his trade. Sancho, Eric Ten Hag said about him that in his post-match he had quite a good pre-season, and he understands that he needs to invest physically. He did that to an extent today. But this is just a start for him. With his potential, there's much more room for improvement, and he can be even more important. So Ten Hag gave Sancho a ringing endorsement. Obviously got the goal for us. And that break, actually, as Pat so ably described the goal early doors, was fantastic. Rashford, I think he was a bit hit and miss today. There was times when he was absolutely majestic, and there was times when I think a bit more pitch awareness would better serve him. So it remains to be seen, will Ten Hag work on that with him as the time goes by. And finally, Bruno, I thought he disappeared to an extent once Ronaldo came on pitch. I would like him to sort his passes a bit better. Some of them fell a little, they're either a bit too slow in the tempo of the pass, or they just fell a bit short. But overall, look, we won 1-0, but I think we do need to take the attacking edge to the whetstone and sharpen it up a bit.
SHAH, we're talking about Rashford there. You want to talk about Rashford as well. While you're talking about the other forwards, you want to sort of highlight Rashford for a little summary, please?
Yeah. What I'll do is Rashford. For me, I think like energy wise, we're getting that little bit of spark out of Rashford now. I'm not knocking his performance, his attitude, nothing like that in terms of what he's been offering attacking wise. The bit that I want to concentrate on is the press when he's not on the ball. The defenders have got the ball, the backtracking, the chasing down. When he loses the ball, there's a triangle around him. He needs to go chase that ball. He needs to exert some energy around that to put the pressure on for the play to come back to us. There was a lot of mistakes in that second half, which caused us situations, and they were caused, like you said, from the front that needed to come back, and situations where I feel like he just needs to be that little bit more refined, a little bit more clinical in his decision making. Personally speaking, like we all love Rashford. He's one of our own. He's red through and through. There's no commitment, no questioning his commitment to us as a club and what he wants to do. We just need to see him level up now because he's been, 6 years now? Embracing that first team? 5 years? So there's got to be that set.
What about the others then? What about the other guys? So you want to see a bit more. What are the other guys out there then?
That's it. So with Sancho, obviously his movement, he was left in a lot of space on that left side. Leicester were getting pulled from left, right, backwards and forwards, and he found himself in a lot of pockets of space. The overlaps from Malacia obviously helped Sancho to cut in and do the false dummies and going inside. The thing that I would like to see him connect with Malacia a little bit more on that left. But I think obviously his goal was taken lovely. There was an opportunity for him to maybe score a second, which hit the defender. Again, no questions that we're going to see more and more of Sancho evolve over this next 12 months, and I'm very excited about that. Elanga, I think he was given the width, it was given the space, but again, a little bit lacking in terms of what he's delivered in front of goal, personally for me.
I'm not going to bump heads with you guys about Rashford, but I do disagree with both of you there. We can talk about that afterwards. But once Pat's gone through his analysis of what he saw with the forward line today, just a quick summary, please.
One thing nobody can knock Marcus Rashford tonight was for his work rate. I thought he was excellent at his work rate. We have all been waiting for Marcus Rashford to come back to that electric form that he had before, and it hasn't been coming for us quite some time. And it only feels like now to me, he is starting to pick up that form again. He is starting to pick up that confidence again. He's charging at players. He might look like he's charging at nothing. And when he's running off into space, it might look like he's running off into nowhere. But guys, from watching the eye test on Tuesday, the work rate and the areas that Marcus Rashford is running into and stretching that team, it's second to none. And clearly, Eric Ten Hag is happy with it. Otherwise, you'll know straight away as soon as Anthony's fit, he'll be whipped out of the team. So let's just see it. I think this is Rashford time to start coming good, and he's starting to knock on the door again. So big up Marcus Rashford. That's all I can say.
Okay, so let's just talk about the goal, because Rashford's involved in the goal. I would call this a counter-pressing goal. They've hit the ball long. Dalot's picked it out at right back position. Popped it into
Bruno.
Bruno's created space. Bruno ran into the space where just on the right wing, he saw the space. He ran in there. Dalot played the ball around the corner for him. He picked it up, played. Well, by this point, their defense is stretched so much. Their left backs well up the pitch. By this point, Rashford seen the space in between the two centre backs and drove into that zone. Bruno played him in, and they're all over the place now. Johnny Evans is out of position. And Rashford squared the ball for Sancho to score the goal. That's a beautiful goal, and 3 or 4 passes straight from a counter press in the mid block. Is that right? Do you want to just talk about the goal and Rashford's contribution?
No, you couldn't have said it better. It's like looking at a younger me saying it was.
Actually,
what do you think about the goal?
One thing I will say about that is, if we had Martial back for that game, Martial contributes so much to that kind of goal. And we would have had another goal if he was on that pitch today.
I think you covered the goal perfectly, Monday, but I just want to say, I think to everyone's relief, the transfer window is closed. It's over. It's done. It's 11 p.m. The klaxon has sounded. So you can put your Frankie de Jong stories back in their box and leave them there till January because we don't want to hear it. It's over.
You must be relieved, Rebel, because you've been doing so much with the transfers lately. That's the worst part of the season for you. You're your most busiest, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, Mbappe was on the first train over from Paris at 10 o'clock, but but there's a problem at the borders, so he's not coming.
Damn it. For
the rumour mill.
Don't worry, lads. Transfer talk is just like Christmas. It comes out in August sometimes.
In essence, so I do have a small bit of transfer talk, but it's not it's to do with possibly what should have been a transfer away and a loan move for Danny van der Beek, because there's a lot of Man United fans after today looking at the sub choices that were made by Ten Hag, and they're noting that he preferred to run a guy that's got a pacemaker in his chest into the ground for 90 minutes rather than give Danny van der Beek 20-25 minutes on pitch. And they're wondering, is that a clear indictment of how Ten Hag views Danny van der Beek?
I don't know. He did get a cameo the other day against Southampton. But yeah, it's a good point. I heard some people commenting about Eriksen earlier, saying that he was getting tired and he's not going to play. Barcelona said he might not play on Sunday because he played 90 minutes now. I just think he's one-paced and he does a fantastic job. One of you guys in the comments mentioned earlier about how he's able to distribute the ball left foot. I mean, for a guy who's right foot, his left foot is just like his right foot. He's super talented like that. Get out his feet, play a long pass, straight to feet. Beautiful player. So I'm happy with him because he gives you something no one else in the squad can do, not even Donny. And Donny's a different style of player altogether. Sub-performances. Let's talk about Casimiro. He's back. We got a further cameo from Casimiro today. Do you like what you see, Shah?
I'm very happy. I've liked Casimiro for a long time. I like that aggression. I like his mind, very clear in terms of what he wants to achieve in 90 minutes. You know, there's no kind of switching off. It's always on. It's pace. It's move it forward. How can I get the ball moving as quickly as possible when he needs to be in places? He's very much watching the play at genuinely a good pace. Like, I think there's things that we've seen over the last few seasons with players that haven't got the ability just to move that ball quick enough from that midfield out left or right or back, because wherever which way it needs to go, it just hasn't moved. And within the first sort of 5 minutes, he just showed that. He showed his calm, he showed his maturity, and he showed he wants to play for the club, which to me makes all the difference.
I want to come to you, Pat. What do you think about Anthony? Do you think Anthony can get in the side, considering Casimiro can't at the moment?
Can Anthony get in the side? Yes, he can. Will he get straight into the side? Well, it doesn't look like it, lads. Not by the starting 11 he chose for the last 3 games. He's going to have to work his way into that side. It might not take long, but he'll get into that side. Definitely. Anthony Elanga, he's a good, hard-working young fella, and he's doing his job right. But if Anthony gets his chance and gets in there, he could end up taking that young Elanga spot.
Now, I want to hear this from Rebel quickly. Rebel, your thoughts on Ronaldo? I mean, last season he was scoring goals for us. You've had, a couple cameo appearances. We've seen him now. Do you think he's on it? Do you think he's on board with what we're doing right now? Do you think he can settle down and try and work his way into the team and prove that he can do the business?
Okay. With regards to Ronaldo, I'm going to go back to the last game. If you remember the goal that we scored, there was a pan to the bench, and you could see that he was fully engaged with what was happening on the pitch. He seems to be smiling. He seems to be acting professional. So I don't think that he's taken into account a lot of what happened outside. Maybe there was a lot of Asian-driven stuff going on. We don't know the full extent of that. But with regards to his performance today, I definitely thought he looked that little bit sharper again than the last game. So we're clearly starting to see him slowly gel into a role in what we expect from him. So Ronaldo is Ronaldo. He's going to be fine. He'll get his 15-20 goals, and nobody's going to bat an eyelash at the end of the season as to what he delivers to Manchester United. Casemiro, again, you can see that he's building himself into the league. He's a man of immense quality. If he makes a few mistakes early doors, you're guaranteed he's not going to make those mistakes again. So Casimiro is going to be an integral part of what we do going forward. Fred, I'm not going to say anything about today. He got 3 or 4 minutes. It wouldn't be fair to judge him. But again, I think there's plenty of room for Fred in the season because there's plenty of games. And as for Anthony, I think it would probably be a bit naive of us to say that he's going to do 90 minutes against Arsenal. He has probably not got the level of training that we'd like, given the fact that he was on strike at Ajax and he hasn't really got that many games under his belt. So it's probably going to be, as Pat said, a similar exercise to what has happened with Casimiro. He may start, given the fact that Alanga and the lads have a lot of minutes in recent days, but I expect him to come off either at halftime or early in the second half if he does start.
I'm going to stay with you quickly, Rebel. Man of the match for you, and why?
Varane, inspirational leader in defence, absolute quality, gelled them all together. It could have been any of the 4 lads, but for me, Varane definitely led by example, and he broke up play a few times, which for me was the bar that gave him that little small smidgen of an ad.
Pat Lawless, I'm coming to you. You were nodding with Rebel. Who's your man of the match and why?
I'm not picking Varane because I think we should all pick a back defender each and give them all man of the match. But I'm going to give it to Lowe because I think he kept Barnes whisper quiet because he was excellent. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm picking the Lowe. Even though I thought Martinez was excellent again, and I thought Malacia was excellent again, and I thought Scott McTominay was excellent.
SHAH, Pat's choosing throwing a few names out there. I just want one from you and a reason why, please. Who's your man of the match?
So for me today,
champagne.
for me it's Eriksen. Personally, yeah. I think the way that he's putting our midfield together and putting it and gelling it from defense to attack, that transition, he's so in a nice. Like he's always in a nice position. He's open. He moves, and I think for me, we haven't had that since Carrick. Like genuinely, I don't think we've had it since Carrick played in that position after Scholes, and I think it's just refreshing to have someone that can put a ball about and play with just a level of calmness. Because even on the right, he's connecting Bruno Dalot together. When he's on the left, he's connecting Sancho, Rashford. So for me, I think like he works hard, and obviously for what he's done in that midfield, I'll give him man of the match today.
For me, Dalot, outstanding by far, head and shoulders above everyone else. Man of the match, Dalot for me. I think he was touch tight with the Barnes, as Pat said. Didn't give him a sniff, pinned him down, and took another yellow, which shows that ruthless aggression that he has right now. Sorry, Paddy, but I have to use your term, and I'm going to borrow that for the rest of the team because the manager said something about ruthless aggression, didn't he, as well? He said, we have to be more ruthless. There is more room for improvement. That's just that's a great quote. That's what we want to be hearing, that we can improve, even when we do win 3 games in a row now. He's saying there has to be a bit more aggression, be a bit more ruthless, and we will win more games. And he wants to win every single game. And I think the way we're going, we are on course. Who's next?
On Monday. Can I ask you one question, though? That head and shoulders above the rest, was that a dig at Martinez's height again?
Well, I know it's a recession right now, and I worry about Martinez because he can't put food on the table. It's a joke. He can't reach. Anyway. All right, anyway, let's move on there before I die out here. Guys, we're going to quit right now. We want to thank everyone who's tuned in and everyone who's commented. We've won again. I hope you're happy. You can go to bed content that Man United are on the up. We're 5th in the table. We're above Liverpool. And we are looking at eyeing up who's the top of the table, which is Arsenal. And they're next on Sunday. And don't forget, guys, we'll be doing a live watch-along for that game as well. It's a special one for you guys. Make sure you tune in. As for now, we're going to sign out. We'll be back tomorrow at 8:30, as usual. Every weeknight at 8:30. And tomorrow's Friday, which means we've also got the takeaway at 10 p.m. And I'm sure there's a lot of things to discuss. Obviously, the transfer window's closed now. We can have a review of the transfer window for all clubs. I think that's what they'll be discussing. And also, we'll be doing a preview for the Arsenal game, which is going to be massive. So, SHAH, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back, Pat. I don't know when you're coming back, but you're always ready. There's always a sofa here for you. And Rebel as well. Big up, man. Thank you so much for your contribution today. Fantastic. We're signing out for the Man United Agenda, and we're saying goodbye. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.